Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 18 of season 4 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Lusail International Circuit here for the Qatar Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from Japan, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Just 6 weekends to go of the season, 3 of which being sprint races. But yeah, the championship is continuing to heat up. And for the first time ever in F123, we lead a Formula 1 World Championship there. 5 points the gap between myself and Verstappen. It is still very much a 2-horse race, but, you know, Yuki Tsunoda trying to keep himself in contention for as long as he possibly can there, of course. If you're new around here, please make sure you leave a like, get yourself a subscriber. Closing in on 120,000 subscribers at the moment, so it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help me get one step closer to that. But yeah, Qatar, one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar. We want to try and have a good weekend here because I'm still just a little bit scared that we're going to get an engine failure before this season is down and out. Well, heading then into immediately the dusk of a Friday night here from Qatar, and hopefully we're going to be able to get a good qualifying session under our belt. Of course, only able to use the soft compound tyres. Would be nice if F1 added the ATA new qualifying system as well in the future. But yeah, hopefully we can just blitz through Q1 and Q2. Of course, don't end up with the same issues that we had last weekend in Suzuka. I think we're rather unlikely, I think, to see rain here in Qatar, but you never quite know what will happen inside the F1 game there. Just trying to drag the car between the curbing. That was all right. Up and towards the fast triple right, though. You can just see it's completely flat in this car. 1, 2, down 1 gear for the third one, and 3. It's so much fun. So much fun. This final sector is really where we come alive there. You've got to blend the throttle through the final couple of turns, but making our way in towards the final corner, though. We're probably going to run out of battery, actually, as we head up towards the line there. There we go. You can just see reach the end of the deploy, but it's still going to be a 1:19.0, and that is going to be fastest. Well, George Russell able to just go quicker than me into the 1:18s at the end of Q1, so it's not going to be an easy weekend here in Lusail, but rounding our way then through the final couple of corners. I don't know whether it's worth trying to mess around with the battery settings slightly, of course, on the lap, just to try and save a little bit of extra time on the run-up towards the start-finish line. We'll wait and see as to how we feel. It's not that we run out of energy, it's just that we just run out of deployable energy on that lap. We use our quota up before we reach the start-finish line, just because the game doesn't expect you to be able to take that triple right-hander flat out. Of course, so you're using battery when it never would expect you to be, but, you know, it is the way it is. Let's try and make sure we nail our first Q2 run. Just making sure we don't pick up a penalty. It really is Sector 2 where we're making up all of our time around this venue, pretty even through Sector 1 and Sector 3 with the rest of the field. I think, to be honest, we're only even in Sector 3 because, of course, that's where the AI are able to use more batteries. An 18.6 despite the error. I think we just gained a load of time there because the battery ran out much later down the main straight. Well, Red Bull just starting to stretch their legs as well towards the end of Q2. Yuki Tsunoda on a 1:18.7 there right behind me, but Verstappen once again seems to be struggling just a little bit. First run though here in Q3. Obviously we just want to set a good benchmark, of course, as everyone now is going to be giving it absolutely everything they possibly can. Let's get some sweat on. I tell you what, Qatar in a maxed out car is so much fun inside F123 up towards the start-finish line. It is going to be a 1:18.2. We just continue to push that benchmark further and further. Could we look at a 1:17 here? Everyone else then heading out for their final run in Q3 for the Qatar Grand Prix. Of course, this is going to set up the grid for the 10-lap sprint race, but can we try and do a 1:17 around this venue? It'll be a mind-boggling time, but we're going to give it all of the risk to try and get anything more. Our way out of the final corner. We're 3 tenths up, we're 4 tenths up as we head up towards the line. This has got to be one of the best qualifying laps I've ever done. A 17.8 there. And we have smashed the opposition. 3/4 of a second there clear of the rest of the field. Pierre Gasly ebbs to a 1:18.5, and that puts him 7 tenths behind us there. Drugovich lines up P3. Verstappen down in P8 there, but he had a nightmare last year here in qualifying as well. But we line up on pole position for the Qatar GP sprint race. Surely we've got a good opportunity here to take some big points out of Max.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Drugovich, Russell, Tsunoda, Sainz, Leclerc, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Fittipaldi, Magnussen, Albon, Ocon, De Vries, Théo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Bottas, Doohan, Halga, Stroll, Joe, and Logan Sargent. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always a risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
Well, I don't know who they were talking about there, but we're not going to worry about it all too much. Sprint race Saturday here for the Qatar Grand Prix, and we are going to be rocking a set of these soft compound tyres ready for this one. We just want to lead from the front. I really do feel like we've got a good run of momentum behind us there. Gasly and Drugovich and Russell all on mediums, so hopefully we're going to be able to bolt away at the start. Well, let's put that theory to the test then. Waiting on the grid for the 5 red lights here in Qatar. Mighty long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go there. Gasly actually gets a good initial getaway there, but Drugovich going to try and storm to his outside as we head in towards the first corner. Oh, Pierre there, I just saw him think about a move up the inside of myself down at turn 1 as Sainz and Leclerc both making good progress up into the top 5. Drugovich, though, gets around Pierre Gasly. They're still side by side out of the first couple of corners. So we've got an opportunity here to do my best Sebastian Vettel impression. And that is run away as quickly as we can early on here as we round our way through in towards the middle sector. Already a 1 second lead. I'd love to open up the DRS margin on lap 1 there. As, yeah, no idea what's happened to Yuki Tsunoda dropping out of the top group. Looks like Verstappen as well has absolutely plummeted down the order at the start of this race. So really not ideal for the Dutchman there. And, well, we've seen it before, haven't we, in these championships? You kind of get to, you know, Italy, Japan, Singapore, of course, in previous years. And Verstappen often tends to struggle. Last season was a little bit different, of course, because he was the car chasing. Obviously trying to close in the gap on his teammate Sergio Perez in the championship. But yeah, Verstappen really does not like these last few Grand Prix in an F1 season. Of course, how he lost the title to Charles Leclerc, how he almost lost the title to George Russell as well, obviously back in Season 1 and Season 2 respectively there. But look at that, end of lap 1. We've got a 1.2 second lead over Pierre Gasly. We cannot complain. Oh, yellow's out. Someone's going slowly. I think Gasly might already be having issues in this GP. Yep, Pierre Gasly appears to be pulling over to the wayside there as Magnussen now going to be up to P5. Looks like Leclerc's lost out to Yuki Tsunoda, as maybe Carlos Sainz as well getting involved in that one. But another Mercedes power unit failure here in Qatar. Seems to be a rather alarming theme for the engines. But yep, Gasly is our first casualty of the night. And it looks like one of the McLarens also had to pit there, as we actually got another car going slowly. That must be Carlos Sainz, who is also out of the GP. And we've got a virtual safety car very, very early on here. I'm sure that Merc is wishing it was a full safety car, but that has given us a huge lead. Oh, it's been red flagged. I think the McLaren, is the McLaren going slowly? No, it doesn't appear that they are. So red flag then early on here in Qatar. And now that huge lead we built up, we're going to have to do all over again then. Not going to bother changing the tyre. In fact, we get to use a fresh set of the soft compound tyres, so we'll roll with that then, apparently. But anyway, let's go for it once again then here, starting on lap 5. Everyone else now on a set of softs. 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. Tsunoda instantly with mechanical issues as Drugovich, that time round, has gone nowhere, so we need to try and lead the way down in towards Turn 1 there. And once again, pretty clean, tidy start for myself. Charles Leclerc up to P2. As Drugovich there is going to absolutely plummet down the order. What is it with Felipe Drugovich? And starting on the front row there, he just cannot go anywhere, as we're going to fight back against Kevin Magnussen in this GP. But yeah, if Tsunoda's got mechanical issues though, that gives Leclerc and I a big opportunity to try and break free at the front of the field there. Really hoping once again we can build up the DRS margin over the Ferrari. Just like I said, I want to control this sprint race. And you can already see by the end of lap 5 just how much time Tsunoda's lost there. The gap up to 3 seconds, so Drugovich needs to get on with it and try and get round him, which it looks like he will do at the final corner. But we've opened up a 1 second lead over Charles Leclerc. 5 laps to go. And I've only just put 2 and 2 together there. That's Carlos Sainz's 3rd mechanical failure in a row this season. Obviously broke down right in front of me in spectacular fashion at Monza. Broke down after other mechanical issues in Japan. And has now broke down once again here in Qatar. A nightmare for Carlos Sainz late on this campaign. Round in the final corner then to start the last lap of the Qatar GP sprint race. And well, it might not have been the craziest race in the world, but we're certainly going to take it today. The gap opening up to 2 seconds over Charles Leclerc there. As yeah, Yuki Tsunoda with those mechanical issues really did just spread out the field in Saturday night's sprint, but we need the points. We need to try and come on really strong late on in this campaign there. Drugovich as well on the podium. He's going to do us wonders in the Constructors' Championship as well, but yeah, Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen starting to struggle late on in that Red Bull, of course. What are Red Bull going to do when Verstappen leaves the team come the end of the campaign there? But we just don't want to run any risks. You know, every time we got an opportunity, we have got to try and take it with both hands late on this season, because you never know what might happen in the final few races of this campaign as we make our way out. We're fine on the field as well there. I did get a little bit worried just for a split second. But yeah, rounding our way though through the triple right-hander for the final time in Saturday sprint racing. We'll pick up a warning just for good measure as well. I think that's my first one of the GP. But yeah, rounding our way in towards the final corner. Sprint race Saturday is going to go pretty much as smoothly as Friday night qualifying. Out of the final corner, we are going to be back on top here in Qatar, and that is going to give us pole position.
Oh, I'm so sore.
Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line-up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, there we go then. Pole position to race victory there. And we were the only car into the 119s as well. Charles Leclerc, fantastic drive from 7th up to 2nd there. And Drogovic 3rd to 3rd gives us some good points for the team. Russell, Piastri, Magnussen, Verstappen and Tsunoda will round out our point scorers here tonight. And that means championship-wise, 11 points now. The gap opens up to at the top of the table. Constructors, 52-point lead now over Red Bull, but that can all change because we've still got the main event ahead of us. Let's get into it. Qatar Grand Prix.
We're under the lights once again here in Qatar. Last year we took a year off due to a small footballing tournament that was being hosted, but it's all excitement on the track now. We're back here in Losail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-pronged shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Drogovic, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Albon, Ocon, De Vries, Fittipaldi, Théo Pourchaire, Halga, Stroll, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Sargent, Joe, Bottas, Sainz, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Right, well, here we are then. Trackside ready for the Qatar Grand Prix. And after a very good sprint race yesterday, we're looking for more of the same today. Do I gamble it? I mean, yeah, I think, to be honest, we want to just control the race from the front there. Don't really want to run any risks when it comes to the harder tyres. Although I do have a slight bit of PTSD from last season here. We'll gamble it. We'll go softs for the start of the Qatar GP. Hopefully that is not going to haunt us. And it seems to be a wise move. Because everyone around me as well is on softs, and I do not want to get swallowed up off the start. Well, we were never really put under much pressure yesterday, but will that be different today? 5 red lights here in Qatar once again. Gonna be lights out, and oh, away we go there. A lot of wheel spin as we try and put the power down in towards someone. Able to... Whoa, hello, Charles Leclerc. Try to suddenly hyper move down my outside in towards the first corner. Make sure we give the Ferrari room, but we will just about... We'll try and squeeze him out through that first corner there. It looks like Magnussen, a little bit further back, has already got the jump on his teammate Piastri. Looks like Drogovic as well has been jumped by George Russell. But I'll give him credit. Charles Leclerc was quite fast towards the end of the GP yesterday. So once again, we need to just try and push on this opening lap there and see obviously what we can do against the Ferrari car. You know, I think Ferrari maybe still a little bit concerned, obviously, after yet another mechanical failure on Carlos's side of the garage. But Charles Leclerc, you know, feeling strong, feeling quick at the moment, carrying a lot of momentum in towards these final few races. Of course, really still just focusing on that win at the Belgian Grand Prix a few weekends ago. But as we make our way, though, through the fast final sector for the opening time, yeah, Leclerc is not dropping back early on here. We might struggle to get out of the DRS range in this one, and we know just how much less downforce the AI running down the straights than myself. We'll try and break the toe as best as we can there as we round. Oh, look how bumpy that is. I was not expecting that. As we head back down towards turn 1, but here goes Charles Leclerc then to the outside of me. Is he going to be able to get the car slowed down? A little bit of hesitation right at the last moment, but this time around he's going to be able to keep the nose there. Oh, come on, Leclerc. Just parks the bus. Russell fancied his chances as well. But for the first time this weekend, we do not lead. So, oh, hello. George Russell as well, trying to get up the inside. Got to be very, very careful. We have got a lot more to lose than these guys. So, yeah, a little bit of a lock-up. George Russell shows the nose, but we just about are able to get the hammer down. Right, let's try and get a run then on Charles Leclerc. First time with the DRS. This should be a good indicator what the straight line speed is like. His new fast lap of the day. To the outside, we'll try and roll around the outside of the Ferrari, and you can see how much downforce we've got there to blend out the throttle to make sure I didn't get a warning. Holy moly, that was scary. That must have been why we were able to get the car round his outside there, because we were actually sliding our way through the corner as Russell again fancies his chances. We'll swoop round him though. That could have been game over on lap 4. Oh, that got the heart rate going. Oh, first warning of the day. So easy to do here at Qatar. High commitment, high bravery circuit, but yeah, we just can't seem to get close enough to Charles Leclerc. In fact, almost losing the DRS that time around. George Russell, sure is going to say thank you very much. We'll tuck into some slipstream. I wasn't aware I had damage, to be completely honest, but can we go right around the outside of Georgie Boy back at turn 1? Yes, we will. And team suggesting we box 1 lap early. Don't think I want to be doing that, to be honest. We're going to be taking those medium tyres far enough as it is. Oh, and now you can see George Russell just starting to struggle a little bit more there. Maybe has pushed too hard on his first set of rubber in this Grand Prix, trying to stay close to me. So Drogovic now might be able to sense an opportunity. We're going to go around the outside of Charles Leclerc back down in towards someone there, wheel to wheel, like Senna versus Mansell all those years ago. But can we swoop right around the outside? Yes, we will. And this time round, we reclaim the lead of the Qatar Grand Prix. Now, can we try to pull away? Have we just looked after our tyres a bit better than everyone else around me? Oh, no. Second warning. We've got no more of those. That's really not good with 20 laps to go. Oh, that is scary, scary stuff here in Qatar. We're going to have to bring our A game for the rest of the afternoon, as Verstappen again looks to be really struggling here. I mean, he's down battling, what, in about 8th place? Where has his pace gone? He's never had much luck in Qatar, apart from last season, where he got incredibly lucky twice. Oh, that's even scarier, though. Tyre wear warning light is already flashed up. We are struggling on the rubber, but I want to get these to the end of 12 at least. Here comes Charlie Boy, back down the inside of turn 1. Oh, nice lock-up as well, Matt. That was good going. Actually, Charles Leclerc, though, making a little bit of a mistake as well. So we round our way out of the first couple of turns. Still wheel-to-wheel with the monogas drive. We're going to have to use a little bit of battery as we head up the hill, just so we can't try and eye up a move. She still wanted to go for. Charles Leclerc is a brave, brave boy. And here goes Charles Leclerc yet again. That time round, there's no competition. So we head down to the final corner. Leclerc straight through, back to the front of the field. And yeah, we were under very little pressure Friday night. Saturday night even. Sunday, though, was looking like a very different story early on. So that was close to a warning. I mean, look at that. Sorry? That's a penalty. We just had a huge lock-up down at the bottom of the hill. And the game seems to believe I've gained an advantage from that. We lost a second to Leclerc in that moment. But now we've got even more work to do. Whoa, in the second half of the Grand Prix, that's going to be another warning. These tyres are gone. Oh, another one. 3 warnings in a lap. Deary, deary me. Drogovic has gone for it there. I genuinely thought he was going to back out of that one. Somehow we don't get another warning from that, but please don't say Felipe's pitting now. Otherwise, we are in even bigger trouble. This is all going a bit wrong at the moment. Drugovich stays out another one. Leclerc, though, comfortably now in the lead as we round our way into the pit lane. But that has been the lap from hell here in Qatar. There's the pit lane speed limit line. And what an absolute disaster. Losing bags of time to the cars around me. You can see everyone else. Oh, they're going hards. Okay, that's interesting. So we might have an opportunity still. If we can get them out of the DRS, that would be really, really good. So we're going to jump George Russell just about somehow in the pit lane as well. Don't see that very often inside F123. But as we head back down then out of the pit lane, Leclerc's got a bit of an opportunity here to break free. We're just about going to stay ahead of those Haas cars on pit lane exit. But yeah, Leclerc's got 3 seconds and we got a 3-second penalty with no more opportunities for warnings either again. Well, Drugovich peeling into the pit lane then. So Red Bull, for the first time this weekend, are actually going to be in the lead of this GP there as we try not to get a big wobble out of the final corner. But yeah, where's Drugovich going to come out then in comparison to George Russell? I think the answer is going to be behind him, but not by much, as we've got Russell instantly out of the DRS range here. But we need to try and get past Charlie as soon as we can. Look at the speed we've got over Charles Leclerc at the moment. He's going to have to go defensive in towards the final corner, and hopefully that's going to allow us an opportunity to get a run out of this final turn. What we need to do, though, is continue to push throughout this lap once we get round him, as he's going to try and fight it. 21-1. New fast lap of the day, but down the inside of Charles Leclerc will go. Now we're through. We've got to basically do a qualifying lap here to try and get that gap up over a second. Come on, let's push. I mean, look at that. There's pushing, and then there's what we've done this lap. Charles Leclerc 1.6 seconds back immediately then as Verstappen peels into the pit lane. Yuki Tsunoda really having to extend his opening stint on that set of the medium compound tyres there as Oscar Piastri into the pit lane as well. But a 120.7. We've almost got 2 seconds over Charles Leclerc. We have got to utilise these tyres, but also continue to safely build up the margin that we need. Magnussen is losing so much time as he needs to try and get into the pit lane. And now our mountain has become even steeper there. Didn't even realise we'd ran just inside the white line, but apparently we have done. Oh, I mean, look at that. Come on, Kevin. Get on with it as we round our way in towards the final couple of corners. At least I want to claim the DRS off him if we're going to lose all this time stuck behind him. As Magnussen is going to peel into the pit lane. We should get the DRS, I think. Yes, we will. So at the final corner, we'll get a little bit of extra time off him. Tsunoda into the pit lane as well, but you know, the gap up to 2.8 over Leclerc. Now it needs to be 6 by the end of this. 10 laps to go then. That gap up to 4.5 seconds. It is going the right direction. But of course, the other thing we've got to consider is our tyres towards the end are going to absolutely hit the cliff. And there we go. That gap up to 6 seconds to Charles Leclerc. We continue building it as best as we can. But of course, yeah, when are these tyres going to start falling off? When is that Ferrari going to have the grip advantage? That's the real question at the moment. We've just got to keep on pushing. I'm back in the groove here in Qatar. We really struggled in the opening half of this race, but it feels like it's all coming back to me.
You're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now.
Oh, that's not a message we want with 8 laps to go. That is really not a message we want. We've probably got 2 more good laps then on this set. And then it's a question of how much quicker will Leclerc be. Well, late on in the day here, I've just noticed Drugovich now actually taking some good time out of Charles Leclerc. Could our teammate be a little bit of a dark horse here? If he starts battling against the Ferrari, potentially help us pull out just a little bit more time. But yeah, could he still fancy his own chances in this race? But it's almost like me saying that about Charles Leclerc has just made him realise, oh yeah, Drugovich is closing up to me, because that gap once more seems to have just levelled out. But 5 laps to go of this Grand Prix, and our tyres are about to reach 60%, which is really not fun. That's just made life even worse. We've got the 9-second gap, but now we can not afford to lose any time to Charlie Boy in these last few laps. I didn't realise I'd picked up another 2 warnings. This is turning into a disaster in terms of track limits here. And immediately as well, the tyre wear warning light has flashed up. Yellow's out. Someone going slowly. If we got a safety car now, we are completely screwed. It's one of the Alpines. No, it's a Merc, I think. Don't say Pierre Gasly's had 2 failures in a weekend. I don't think I've ever seen that before inside F123. I know it's happened to me before. Yes, it is. Gasly has had another mechanical failure here on Sunday's GP. I know we had it in Austria in one season on F122, but heartbreak once again. I swear Mercedes can never get both cars to the flag here in Qatar, sorry. Right, well, 3 laps to go then, and that's quite a good sign at this stage of the day, because now it means we can't get a safety car that can screw us over late on in the afternoon. But yeah, Leclerc and Drogovic 11 seconds back, but these tyres absolutely now starting to give up the ghost. Thank you, Valtteri. Oh, hello. Bottas! Valtteri Bottas thought I'll let it by, and then thought, actually, no, we'll swipe at him. Of course, our second driver retiring at the end of the year, obviously alongside Max Verstappen, as that is not the line. What on earth are the AI doing when it comes to blue flags there? Sargent's done exactly the same thing as Bottas did. Luckily, he was a little bit further in front of me, but look how badly worn these tyres are now. Why is it always Qatar as a drive to the tyres explode kind of challenge? I'll round in the final lap then here of the Qatar Grand Prix, and I tell you what, we really seem to have hit our stride inside F123. 16th the first last weekend in Japan, and this time round pole position by 3/4 of a second on Friday night there. We knew this weekend we could have a pretty good run. Charles Leclerc really did hound me early on tonight, but yeah, since then has not really looked back, especially on the second set of tyres. You know, it's been a little bit of a gamble, but it does look like it's going to pay off for us unless we get a puncture in these final few corners. Gutted, to be honest, with the 9 seconds worth of track limit penalties, but I don't think it's going to harm us all too much here unless I do something catastrophically stupid through the final corners. As just for a split second I wondered if I was about to do something catastrophically stupid as well, but yeah, it's going to allow us to open up a huge lead over Verstappen in the championship race. The Dutchman going to be down in P6, so I think we're going to leave here with a 1-win margin at the top of the table. But round in the final corner here at Qatar, it is going to be double delight here in Losail. We are going to take 2 victories.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
And under the desert night sky, they win the Qatar Grand Prix. And what a performance it was. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco.
Let's move on to the constructors. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Qatar GP, and the gap must have been pretty close at the end. 2/10. I probably should have worried about that a whole lot more when I was weaving towards the line there, but we do take the dub nonetheless ahead of Charles Leclerc. Felipe Drugovich P3 ahead of Russell, Tsunoda and Verstappen there, with Ocon, De Vries, Sainz and Albon rounding out our point scorers tonight. Means the gap at the top of the table, 29 points all of a sudden. Yes, that is looking very, very healthy as we leave Qatar there. Drogovic now inside the top 10 in the championship as well. Still 60 points back from Charles Leclerc, but definitely can get P6 there as Charlie Boy really has kicked on quite nicely late on in the season. Constructors-wise, a 75-point lead as well. That is looking rather healthy as well here. We are really hitting our stride late on in the championship. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will be back tomorrow then. We got back-to-back sprint race weekends. We'll be back for Qatar. You guys do not want to miss that. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.